everyone. This is Lily.
This is Vidia.
And welcome to Girls,
Grace,
and
Giggles. All right, welcome to episode 11, where at the time of the recording, one of us is going to celebrate her birthday soon. And that person is not me. So
okay, that's random, but okay,
So,
yes, that's true.
Happy birthday soon.
Yep.
And I think it's an appropriate and timing moment to talk about our lives as 30-something-year-olds.
Right. Oh, nice segue. Now I see it. I see it now.
You know, the challenges and the blessings
of life in our 30s
that come with age.
Right. Are we aging gracefully?
Hopefully, like fine wine. Well, I've been in this journey slightly longer than you, but just slightly longer. Emphasis on the word slightly. But I think we do share some struggles and some strengths. You know, after having lived for more than 3 decades.
So this is like a, what would you call it? Not a quarter life crisis. It's not really a crisis, but like a
reflection.
A reflection.
Yes.
I like that word. That's
right.
Good. It's a reflection.
It's neutral.
Yeah. Just looking back, you know, and things, lessons learned, I guess.
And hopefully it's relatable for you guys who are listening, you know, regardless of your age, whether you're younger. Because if you're younger, then you can anticipate these things.
Yeah, potentially. Or if you're older, then you can also reminisce
look back
on the
reflect. Yes,
on the previous.
And share your wisdom,
right?
For what to expect.
Very good.
Yeah, and I also think the 30s is an interesting phase because, like, you've gone through life a little bit. Like, there's years of experience under your belt. Like, you've been adulting for some time.
Yeah,
but
some may say it's like 1/3 gone already.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you live till like 90 something,
yeah, that's
then
true.
Yeah, 1/3 is done.
I see. Just 2 more to go. So yeah, I think the 30s is quite an interesting time in our lives. You know, I think things start to get more solid, although you're still going to experience like a lot of changes. So
but not as clueless or as maybe aimless as you were, hopefully.
in our 20s
or teens or whatever.
Yeah,
life has progressed a bit more, so you're more, as Joey from Friends would say, more wisdomous.
Even though he's not, you know,
he's
happy
not very
about
wise.
turning 30. So it's an interesting time. So why don't we just, you know, dive straight into it?
Okay, sure.
I want to start with our challenges first, and then like strengths or benefits later, so we can end on a high note.
Okay, sure. I like that.
Because it's not just like gloom and doom.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not. I think I heard somewhere that you know, not everyone can grow old, right? Not everyone has the privilege of growing old. And so living a long life, despite it having, you know, certain challenges, it's still a blessing to like be able to grow old. And I was like, oh yeah, actually, when you look at it that way, that's really true. And so we're not guaranteed anything, right? So being able to grow old is a gift, really. So
cherish every moment.
So for you, what do you think are the struggles?
I guess we can start with the physical challenges or weaknesses. The one thing for me, this is literally I hate it with a passion because it didn't happen to me before I turned 30, but after I turned 30, I saw so much gray hair. I'm like, where did they come from? Were they dormant? Like, for the first 30 years of my life, I just started coming out, and they are still coming out.
Oh no. Okay, well, okay, that's sad because I too have noticed gray hairs for myself.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But what troubles me more than the gray hairs is like the receding hairline and the loss of hair. Like, I feel like, so like I noticed this distinctly, and I don't know if it's starting in my 30s or it's been a while or whatever, but definitely over the years, and more noticeably now, I find that when I'm after the shower and then I blow dry my hair, and then I like look and I was like, wow, I feel like I have so much less hair. like volume wise than before. And it's not like I had so much hair to begin with either. So I'm like, no, I'm like losing what precious strands I already have. And I feel like, oh, I'm like, is my hairline like receding? Because I feel like my forehead is getting bigger.
Did that really? Like, did you like when you compare old pictures? Do you feel like that is really the case, or it's?
I mean, I think my forehead has always been kind of big. Like my dad used to like make fun of me for it, but now I'm just like, wait, I think it's true. Like, I'm actually starting to like see it, but I do think I am losing my hair because I went to this like Chinese doctor, like this like acupuncture, like Chinese medicine doctor. And she straight up like saw me and she's like, oh yeah, your hairline is receding. And I was like, oh my God, like ouch, rude, but
when
true.
You're affirmed by a medical practitioner.
Yeah. You're like, I was like, okay, lady. And she's like, oh yeah, you need to do like more there's these like
massage,
like more massages for your like pressure
to
points
stimulate
on
your hair.
Yeah, literally. Growth. She was like, you need to use the comb to like brush these certain points, like pressure points in your head to like release the whatever. And I think it's also because for girls, like I used to, and I always still do, which is not good, but like put a ponytail up, and then if you like pull your hair back long enough, like over time the hair in the like near the front of your head will be like pulled too much, and like it will not
that makes sense.
It will not be healthy
for
the long term.
It will become more fragile and
over time. Like harder to regenerate or like slower to regenerate. And so
did you used to do that a lot?
I always put my hair up, and then but it was only I think in uni that I learned about the messy bun. And then I was like, wow, like what have I been doing my whole life with like putting on like
an organized bun,
like an organized bun, an organized bun, yeah, a proper bun. But now even still, I feel like it's just more out of like muscle memory or habit that I would like put my hair up in a bun or I mean, ironically today I am in a ponytail. So I'm not really practicing what I preach. But yeah, this receding hairline has like
the struggle is real.
Has troubled me.
And you know what? We haven't even been pregnant or given births yet. So yeah, you just wait for it. If that day like, ever comes, we'll lose even more hair and maybe get even more gray hair. So
I do hear that there is like a lot of hair loss for women who's pregnant because your body is like, of course, like
going
supplying
through so much.
Yeah, but like supplying all the nutrients to the baby. Yeah. And so it's just like your body is kind of just like, okay, whatever. Like the excess ones will just.
And hair is just like one of the many things that will,
that will change.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It's okay. But yeah, definitely hair is like a big thing. So do you diet? Do you feel like
no,
you don't diet?
No, okay. So in the beginning I used to pluck them, but then I realized if I pluck them, they may not go back. I'll just have less and less hair. So I try to cut them as close to the roots as possible. And sometimes I can't do that perfectly, and then I cut like parts of my hair as well. So the black hair surrounding that one strand of gray hair.
Oh no. But then there are people who have like 少年白, which is like youthful
gray
like
hair?
youth gray hair. I don't know how to translate it, but like it's like a genetic thing where despite them being like young, like let's say in their 20s or something, they already have gray hairs because it's just a family thing or like genetics or whatever. So I don't know. Like I guess like yeah, it's funny because I think that my parents, like my mom like has more gray hair, but my dad now has like less and less hair. So I'm like, oh no, is it like double whammy for me? Like I'm gonna get gray and less hair.
I think we kind of like joked about it because I told you, oh my gosh, I have so much gray hair, and then you're like, yeah, but I'm losing hair. And then I would be like, at least your hair is black, not gray.
The ones you lose.
Like, would you rather? Like which one would you go for?
I think I would rather the gray, to be honest,
because you can dye it.
Yeah, you can dye it, or you can like like there's some people who look good in like
and they just
gray
embrace
hair,
it,
and
right?
they just or they just dye it gray, like so instead of looking like it's gray from
like the ash gray color.
Yeah, exactly.
I could pull it off.
Yeah, like it will look good with like a bob cut and like, you know, just like that sleek professional look, you know, like power woman, you know, with like a sharp suit and like that short gray hair. It's like, oh, this boss lady is coming in or something.
Not me though. I can't imagine myself.
I'm like just imagining like Devil Wears Prada, you know,
you know what, because they have confidence. That is part of their like,
but you have
style.
Confidence.
Yeah, I need to work on it more.
Okay, valid.
Yeah, any other physical challenges?
Yes. So I'm like, let me count the ways. So I feel like sleep is also a big thing that's changed for me. I mean, I'm very grateful that I can still sleep through the night.
That's a blessing.
I'm very like, I'm not someone who has insomnia and I fall asleep quickly. Getting up quickly is a different issue. But something I've started noticing is that like I would wake up earlier in the mornings to go to the washroom. Like I would have to wake up because I need to use the washroom. And then I would be able to like go back to bed and actually fall asleep. But like now more and more consistently, I would, let's say I go to bed at like midnight or something. And then I would wake up at least like, I think probably usually like around 6 because I have to pee. And I have to go to the washroom to like pee, and then I'll come back and I'm like, oh, like I can still keep sleeping and I will still be able to like resume sleep, but I would have to wake up because I need to use the washroom.
Yeah.
And that never used to happen to me. Like I used to wake up because I have to wake up because I just naturally woke up or the alarm woke me up. But now I'm like, oh, I wake up now because my body is telling me
your
I need
bladder
to use
is
the washroom.
Like, please.
Yeah.
We need to release
and I've
this.
never had that in my life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, that is a good point. I think I started experiencing that in my 30s as well. But now I just try not to drink close to my bedtime.
I don't.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, I mean, okay, the only exception is that if I'm like taking a shower at night, which sometimes I do, like after the shower, I will always have to like drink some water. Because I feel like
dehydrated.
Yeah, for some reason, even though I've been like in the shower, like my body has been absorbing the water. But I feel like, no, I need to like drink something because I'm dehydrated. It doesn't make sense, but it just makes sense to me. And it's not like a lot. I don't drink a whole bottle. I just drink like maybe 2-3 gulps of water. But then like inevitably, regardless of whether or not I drank water the night before, I would still wake up early in the morning to use the washroom. And I'm like, I don't get it, but okay, I guess.
I see. Interesting. Yeah, because I can avoid that if I don't drink anything before bedtime.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. So you know how to like combat that. Yeah.
Yeah, because, you know, even just like half a glass, I will for sure like wake up.
Well, like, I mean, I think you also don't have a very
big bladder.
So there is that.
That is correct. Yeah, I guess those are some of the physical challenges. What about like the social or like intangible challenges?
Okay, you go first.
I guess there's pressure, societal pressure, I would say, you know, comparison of where my life is compared to other people, because you know, as I mentioned, this is the stage where, you know, people move on to different life stages. And when I have not moved on to those different life stages, there's
like of marriage or
marriage or like buying a house or like where you are in your career, having kids and stuff. It kind of makes you think whether there's something wrong with yourself or just like, you know, like comparison. It's always like they're like looking around, right? I guess compared to when you're in your 20s, it's less it's less
noticeable or less,
it's less of a concern maybe, because everybody was just like finishing college, getting into the job market,
still figuring things out.
So
no, that's definitely true. I feel like not only is there like pressure from within, but pressure from outside as well, like whether it's from parents who may be just like well-meaning and well-intentioned, but it's still like pressure nonetheless, or like family, even friends or whomever else. It's just like,
or yourself.
Or internally, like from yourself. I feel that too. And I think what's more difficult now is that because you're older, the risk and the like margin of error is like a lot smaller.
Yeah.
So you can't take as many big risks as you could perhaps in your 20s, like, you know, or if you do, they will be more weighty. You know, like the weight of doing this will come with a lot more implications. And so it's not such an easy decision anymore. Like, I think in my 20s I was able to like travel a lot. I mean, we both were, but like I feel like that was I'm glad I used that time to do that thing, and I'm happy that that's how I spent my years. But on the flip side too, it's like if I do that now, it's like a little bit has like different connotations, right? And different implications as well. So
I totally agree.
Yeah,
like there's a lot more at stake. You're more apprehensive about making big changes. Let's say you want to change a career.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always feel like, is this a good time to like start over in your 30s?
You just feel the risk more. Yeah. Right? I mean, you can still do it by all means. And if you're really set on it, I mean, there's plenty of like people who start second careers or even third careers, or like start a business, or, you know, like you move halfway across the world to start a new life. And that's exciting and liberating, but also daunting and frightening. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my parents too, they immigrated when they were in their 30s. And looking back, I was like, wow, if I'm to uproot everything I have now built, I mean, little as it is, but still, I've built like a little corner.
And they were pretty much around your age.
Yes, they did that, definitely. And they were very, you know, they were both accomplished in their careers. And so I was like, and they, you know, of course they were married and they had me. So it was like already like things were settled, right? And like their whole life and their whole like relatives and siblings and, you know, parents were in China. So to uproot and like go to a land where they knew nobody, I even now I'm like, wow, can I do that? Like, can I do that at my age now? And like, I think I can, but it would be so hard, and it would be like overwhelmingly like, you know, I mean, it's the life of like a first gen immigrant, right? So it's kind of like, yeah, you start from zero, and it's basically just to provide a new and better future for your kids, right? And yeah, that's not easy. So
yeah, I've also noticed in my 30s there's been like some friendship changes, like changes of dynamic, because people you know, get married, they have kids, and that can change your friendships, like understandably, or because people move away, because there's just like things going on. And because
we touched on this a lot in our friendship episode, but it's true. And again, it's not for lack of trying. Like, we try to maintain the friendships that we have, but it's just more difficult, and that's just the reality of it. But on the flip side of it, I think something encouraging is that change might not necessarily be bad, right? It could be something for the better, for like the future, and for like a new dynamic of like how friendship is, or how things look now in and I think people are more mature in their mindset, so our expectations are better managed in certain ways, to be like, okay, like this is the amount of time I'm able to dedicate to you and to this friendship. And that's kind of like, it's you know, we lay it more on the table. And I think the honesty helps with maintaining that friendship, because we'll know like, okay, things have changed and this is how things will look like. This is the new normal, you know? And that might be a good thing too, right? So you never know.
Anything else from your side? The social
struggles? Not necessarily the struggles, but I think that aside from comparison, I think I struggle with that too. But something else is that like, you as a person, you like are more I guess this is a benefit. Sorry. I was gonna do I want to transition to that? But I was gonna say like, you are just more sure of yourself, and like you're more just sure of who you are and your preferences, and more mature in your mindset or outlook. I mean, as you should be, you've grown more, but I think that helps you with navigating what you think is important and who you think is important, and that's a positive thing. But sometimes the negative side of that is like things seem a bit more complicated than before. Like human interaction seems a bit more nuanced. The issues that you encounter at work is more like needs more finesse, because maybe now you are like not only just like under somebody, but maybe you're overseeing some other colleagues, and those things just become more complicated,
and you have real responsibilities.
Yeah, you have real responsibilities and like bills to pay and like people to see, things to do, like those responsibilities that you're like, oh, I'm like a real adult now. Like I'm adulting for reals. Like I feel like in our 20s people were just we're still, you're technically an adult because you're over 18, but realistically you're still like a growing child. Like there hasn't been much of the real world that has yet sunk in. But in your 30s I find that things become a bit more serious. Yeah, serious is a good word. Like just serious in your outlook, serious in your life stage, serious in your workplace. Just things are not as straightforward as they were in their
things
are
not as simple as they used to be.
Yeah, and I think that comes with the territory, and I mean, I find myself dealing like, so previously at work I was like overseeing some people and knowing, and I've never had that role before of like having to supervise other people's work. And so I was like in my head for the first like year or so, I'm like, oh, I think this is what somebody who's a supervisor would act, or this is what they would say, or this is how they would deal with this situation. I was just like kind of like playing pretend in my head. But after a while you're like, oh wait, I'm actually doing it. I'm the person. And like people are looking to me to make a decision, and people are looking to me to sort out a situation, and I'm like, oh, like
it's
I can't
just
be, yeah, it is. And I'm like, I can't just be told what to do and just like do the thing that like other people tell me. And it's like, oh wow, like I have real direction and like responsibility in this thing. It's like if I mess up, my name is on that thing. So I better like
this is for real. This is not a game.
So it just comes with the territory. And of course, knowing how to deal with the nuances of maybe like colleagues who don't get along, or colleagues that you don't particularly like, or how to give constructive feedback to someone who's very prickly, or how to, interact with your boss who may not be as understanding or as aware of your work, or like just, all of the nuances that, perhaps you otherwise wouldn't deal with when you're in your 20s, because I mean, unless you're very accomplished in your career, which is, great, but like usually you're under somebody, right? And you have to work with that or whatever. And with parents, especially for Asian parents, even if you're in your 20s, like a lot of people still like live at home, or they are still taken care of in some way, either like just by being in the same house as their parents, or even financially, or whatever else. So it's like you're an adult, but like halfway. But in your 30s it's like, okay, yeah, you should get your life together. You should have your savings, some savings. You should have some, there are just more expectations of you, and less like society is less eager to give you a pass.
I can see that.
I'm rambling, but
I want to add one more thing before we move on to the strengths and benefits. Aging parents, I think, at least for me, like I've experienced the hardship of like just witnessing my parents age and like have chronic illnesses in my 20s, but as I entered my 30s, it's becoming more and more apparent, and like those challenges are becoming harder and harder.
Right.
And again, that is a privilege to still have parents at this age, because not everybody experiences that, but it can also be hard.
Definitely. So. And I think it's also difficult to realize like, oh, they're actually aging. They're getting older, and
it's before, like noticeable.
Yes, like before maybe it was just like a concept, but when you see them, you're like, oh, it's like it's real, it's happening in real life, in real time. And I think to add on to the previous thing, maybe that's where also the pressure comes from internally to like find a partner or to have kids, because you want your parents to also like, you know, see you have your own family. And like there's a bit of me that's always like, oh, like if I don't know, in a way I'm like, am I letting them down by not doing that and like not giving them that joy or something? Like a little bit. I'm like, oh, like I would want them to experience like being
Is it
grandparents.
because you're an only child?
Yeah, I think the pressure is more because I'm an. It would be less if I have siblings who are already married with kids, because I'm like, okay, at least they have experienced that with another sibling. But for me, it's like all their eggs are in me, one basket. There's one basket, and if I don't, then they don't have that experience. So there's a little bit more of that, and I'm like, as they're getting older, I'm like, oh, okay, like I don't know. It is something that I think about.
Yeah. I see. All right. Why don't we move on to the positives of
being
in our 30s?
Otherwise, it's gonna be like a really like Debbie Downer.
Yes, no, but I think we do have a lot of positives because you mentioned it. Like earlier,
the more mental things about like just being more sure,
which comes with, you know, like thanks to like a lot of experiences in life, right? Like you know more about yourself. You know yourself better. You know what you like, what you don't like, what you need or want, and things like that. How about like confidence or like emotional intelligence? Are those linked as well?
Definitely. I think that one of the biggest benefits or like traits or abilities I've developed, I think, is the ability to say no, and also the ability to give like good feedback in a way that like, whether or not I agree with that person, but I think just to have nuanced conversations. I think that that is like the biggest two takeaways from my life thus far, and as I'm progressing through it.
That's a great soft skill.
Yeah. And I think it's something that of course we're still learning and growing with, but I just kind of really do want to expand on the saying no thing. So like, whether it be because we're Asian and there's just, you know, harder like social reasons why we are more reluctant to say no, or because we're women and women are, you know, tend to be a bit more pliable and, you know, reticent to like just be very upfront with our no's. But I find that like, just for us to say no, we have to go through a little bit more like encouragement than others to do, especially if it's tied with like social commitments or expectations or things like that. But I think that something I've tried to like learn over time is that like, it's actually okay to say no. Like, I don't know why, if I somehow in the back of my mind, I always feel like, is there like a punishment or like someone's gonna come after me if I say no? Like, I don't know. Wow. I have it in my head that like I'm not allowed to say no.
Are you a people pleaser?
I think I used to be.
Okay.
I think I'm better now. Recovering. Recovering. But now I think over time, like I think I started developing this in like the uni days, because I was like, at first I like, there was a lot of events happening and I just had FOMO, like fear of missing out on like a lot of fun events. But over time I realized like, oh, I actually need to like prioritize my studies and things like that. So I did say no to a few things, and that was good because I was like, oh, I'm saying no to things that I know, like I'm saying no because I know it'll like benefit me in the long term, and it's actually better for me and my like my mental health or whatever else. So that was like an obstacle. But then other things, like now it's like saying no to things that maybe like are things that people expect you to do, and yet you like actually know that, you know, you can't do that or you don't want to do that or whatever else. Like, how do you say no to those things, and how do you say it in a way that's more like more graceful, I guess, and not gonna like burn bridges or whatever. I think that requires a lot more tact and
skill and class.
Yeah. So again, like I said before, like, you know, in your 30s, everything is just like turned up a notch. Like things are just more complicated, you know? But I find that that's like a skill that I'm still learning, but I feel like it's something I'm growing into, and it's a bit more like comfortable now. And I think it goes hand in hand with like the ability to, you know, give feedback. So like, again, I reference my work a lot, but like, so I think one of my like achievements, I would say, is that like my my assistant, or like she's like someone that works under me, she was like, you know, I think one of your greatest traits is that you know how to give good feedback. And I was like, oh, like crying, like, wow, that's a really, really good compliment, and
that
I'm
is
so
a good
glad.
feedback.
Yeah, that's a great feedback. And she's like, yeah, you can just give it in a way that is like actually constructive and not like putting people down or something. And I was like, wow, thanks. Like I feel like that was really encouraging to me, because I think that's something that I was really trying to do. And so I'm just glad that it's come across. And so that was like a skill that I'm like, oh, like I want them to feel like I really care for them. And I'm saying this not out of spite or out of like just being mean and critical, but actually just because this is like what I'm saying from my own experience, so that they don't have to like, you know, make the same mistakes
it's
I
for their
did.
own good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that was like difficult, because I think it required a lot more like soft training in a way, you know, like soft skills training, but like nobody gives you this training. Nobody gives you this training.
There is no handbook for this skill.
And I'm like, oh, like this is so hard to like to do, but it's something I feel is so beneficial and so vital to growth, you know, regardless of in whatever context, like whether in friendships or in the workplace or even like in church. Goodness knows, in church we probably do need that more than ever, about how to, you know, point things out, but in a way that's like graceful and with love. But yeah, it's just, I think I'm glad I feel like I've slowly developed those things.
Wow, look at you being all mature.
I don't know. Okay, what about you?
Yeah, I think wisdom is something wisdomous. I think I'm more wisdomous now compared to when I was in my 20s. So I remember when I was in this small group, we had discussions about basically life. And then for some reason, like the conversation just turned into, you know what? For us who has gone through a lot in our life, we get the privilege of looking back on those past life experiences and learn from that, learn from those like lessons. And that makes us like better, mature people and Christians, because we have those like in our back pocket to look back to be like, okay, this is what happened in the past. I survived. I learned all these lessons. Let me just like reapply those into my life now. And I think you don't get to do that as much when you're younger, because you're still
you don't have that many life experiences. You're still growing.
Yeah,
that's true.
which is why, you know, like we learn, right, from like so many people who are maybe like much older than us, because they've gone through more things.
They're a treasure trove of knowledge.
Yeah.
That's why I'm glad that like, so for my small group, like we have like different ages. Like for me, I'm one of the youngest.
I can actually.
And there are others who are like also, and different life stages as well. So there's like people who are married with kids, and then others who are like single and different ages of being single. So it's really interesting to hear everybody's like different everyday lives, because you find that it varies a lot, you know, and it's very different.
But different perspectives.
But like, because of the differences, we're able to kind of share with one another our unique perspectives, and it gives a different dimension to the whole discussion, which is really helpful. I think, because sometimes like previously in like uni days or whatever, like campus fellowships and things like that, well, everyone's in school, like everyone's
in the
a
same
student.
boat.
So like, aside from your own opinions which you formed, like, because we're all in the same life stage, it's harder to kind of see from like a third person's perspective, like to see
like a bird's eye view.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good thing that 30s are a time where we have so many different varying life stages.
What about stability? Do you feel like in different aspects you're more stable compared to when you were in your 20s?
Yes, I would say so. I think like financially that helps. I was making no money as a 20-year-old, let's just be real.
Some money is better than none.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think being able to like support oneself financially, that is certainly a level of stability. I think mentally as well, not that I was mentally unstable, okay? But like, okay, that came out wrong, but like, like I said before, your mindset is more mature and more stable and less highs and lows in like roller coaster of emotions. I think we're like we've seen
steadier.
Steadier. That's the word. Like you just seen some more things and you're not as thrown off or not as phased by things. So you just kind of like it takes more to alarm you or surprise you or despair you or whatever. Like it just, there needs to be a greater event to trigger like such intense emotions, I find.
Yeah. Do you feel like you were more idealistic in your 20s and then now you're more realistic?
Like with the mindset stability?
Like
good question.
Like we were once dreamers. We are no longer those people now.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and maybe that's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, because you can't just be like dreaming all day and
not like like have your feet
living in the reality
kind of thing. Yeah, go out to like touch grass or whatever, get reconnected. Yeah, I think so. I think I don't know, like I think at heart I still am like a dreamer of some kind, but now like the dream is like wrapped up with like other realistic expectations. Yeah. I don't know. Like it's hard because I think deep down we all want to aspire to be so carefree and to be so idealistic in a way, but like the reality sometimes is always not so idyllic. So I don't know, what about you?
I think I'm like you, like I'm still a kid and dreamer at heart, but because of life situations and experiences, like I'm a bit more aware of things, but there's still that part of me that is still like naive and
childlike, right?
Yeah,
like, I think we should preserve that. I think that good, there is that sort of like innocence and there's beauty in that. There's beauty in that childlike innocence, but it's not to be like naive or to be like open-eyed, like wide-eyed and like oblivious. But it's more like if you go through all those struggles and yet you still can maintain that sense of wonder and beauty for the world, I think that's a beautiful thing, right?
I think so too.
You just kind of at heart you still have that pureness in you.
And I don't want to lose that ever.
Right.
And I have a friend who's like us as well, and sometimes we joke about like, we're still children at heart. Like,
well, I think that's a good thing. And that should be preserved because beautiful things should be preserved. Right.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else before we close? Otherwise, I have a closing question.
Okay, sure. What's your closing question?
What is something, it can be more than one, that no one told you or prepared you about life in your 30s? Things that surprised you.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Otherwise, I can share mine.
Yeah.
Adult friendships. It is a real struggle, guys. Yeah, it is a real struggle. Yeah, maybe even more pronounced because I moved here 2 years ago.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, it is not organic. It is not as organic and natural as I thought it would be. I mean, I came prepared. Like I knew it wouldn't be like a walk in the park, but I also didn't think that it was going to be that hard.
Yeah. So I think similar to you, but like just more specifically, I think the difficulty in like having people open up, I think is something I didn't really think about when I was younger. So
and you just look back to like university days when
people are just so open.
yeah, people have less reservations, right?
Yes.
It just happens. You don't plan
Yeah,
for those
exactly.
things.
So I feel like it's harder to get people to be closer and to open up, and perhaps that's a reason why it's harder to make friends. But I found that that was something I guess I didn't really anticipate or expect in my 30s.
And I forgot to mention this in the positive. I think deepening friendships is something that is to be celebrated in our 30s.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's definitely a strength.
Yeah, especially if you've been
friends
with, people, I don't know, from your kindergarten years or like just uni.
Yeah.
There's like accumulated years of
history
relationship, highs
definitely.
and lows.
So I mean, there's definitely the good and the, well, not bad, but like, I could do with less gray hair and receding hairline, that's for sure. And like back aches sometimes. Oh yeah, the other thing is like just sometimes randomly I'm like I just get like an ache somewhere and I'm like, what is this? Like, where did this come from? Like, I don't know.
Hashtag signs of aging.
Like I was like, what happened? And I'm like, I genuinely don't know. I just woke up one day and it started
cracking.
Like, yeah, I just like things just started hurting. I was like, what is this? So that's also a new, rather unpleasant surprise. But something I've also been noticing. But yeah, definitely the strengthening friendships and just deeper connections with people, and being more sure of yourself and more confident as well, I think, in who you are and what you stand for. I certainly feel like that's something to be gained and something to be celebrated. And again, like to call back from the initial setting, like I do think that growing old is a privilege, and to grow old is a blessing. So it's not something that everyone gets to do, right? There's many people that, unfortunately, like for one reason or another, like pass very young. And so it's the Lord knows our timing, and so we're just grateful for each day.
And there are things to be embraced in every life stage. So
so there we go. This is just like a brief snapshot of our, like, I don't know, what would you call this? 30s highs and lows. Yeah.
Blessings and
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll think about
blessings and blessings in disguise.
Yes, that's a good one.
All right. Well, hope you liked this episode. Stay tuned for the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.